Good morning, everybody. Sean Carlson here with Blackjack 98 Enterprises. Today's date is Saturday, March 23rd, just before 9:30. I'm doing a preparation video for the pressure washing activity that I want to engage in. I am standing right outside Naruto Sushi from the back alley area that you've seen me working on before. If you remember me doing that back alley right there, well, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the street cleaning in front. So all of that. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this camera around. We're gonna do a pan of the sidewalk here because this is what I'm gonna be pressure wash cleaning. I'm gonna start from that corner. Well, not exactly start from that corner. I'm gonna start at the far corner. I'm gonna wash this entire sidewalk and right up to the brick there, right under the windowsill. You see the green grime right there? I'm gonna be getting rid of that. I'm gonna be cleaning up this grunge around the tree. This here bike rack, and then this sidewalk here. This brick goes all the way along the sidewalk, and I'm gonna go all the way up as far as the corner of the building. I'm gonna wash this garbage can, this here too, and this fixture, including the corner and the curb. Okay, I'm gonna go right onto this side of this column. All right, so. Okay, before I start getting to putting everything together, I want to show everybody my garden hoses that I will be using. And as you can see, everybody's probably cringing, saying they're not the right material for a pressure washer and all this and stuff and blah, 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 blah. Carrying on. I bought this gizmo to attach to the garden hoses, which will be connected to the primary. So what will happen is... Oh, that's right. This will be connected right here. This will be free. And then the garden hose will be connected from this to the primary, to the house, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to take individual readings. So in 25-foot hose for one hose, we're going to put it in the low elevation. Then we're going to put it in the high elevation. We're going to put another garden hose attached to that one. So we have 50 feet in total. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to have 4 readings. And I am pretty sure we're going to have 4 readings. We're also going to do the bucket test of how fast it fills up a bucket. And I don't have any particular way of measuring how much water is in that bucket because there's no ticky marks on it. But we do have a tape measure. So we will use our tape measure and we will put it at the top of the water. And we'll take a measurement as to what it could be from the lip right there. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna have different readings. Okay, I just went and bought some washers for my garden hoses so that way there's no leaks. So, ladies and gentlemen, having said everything, we're going to put everything into effect right now. So here we go. Before I get started, I wanted to show everybody, see where that star says garden hose must be at least 3/4 in diameter. Okay, so what that means is the garden hose has an inside diameter of 3/4 of an inch. So that means the water comes through this side to this side is 3/4 of an inch. Okay, it does not mean the outside of the diameter. And if you look at this here, that inside rubber O-ring is 3/4 of an inch. Okay, this part right here is a female end, which is 1.5 inches. And it feeds water through a 3/4 inch diameter tubing of the garden hose. Okay, and those water flowing through those is 3/4 of an inch. Blah 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 blah. Let's get to it. Okay, so now after showing you guys where it is that I'm going to be working, I wanted to show everybody the preparation and planning that I have undertaken to make sure that I have the water pressure needed to feed my pressure washer. So I'm going to show everybody my layout here. I'm going to flip the camera around. As before, you've seen me use this one, this water feed. It does work. Now, I have to feed it from that right there, along here, up this hill, into somewhat the middle of the building. So I want to show you guys some paperwork here. Okay, so this is our layout. On the bottom here, this this X represents that hose. It will go a distance of 22'9" to the corner. It goes up the hill a distance of 48'2". Now that does not mean that the corner of the building to this corner is 48'2". That just means the diagonal distance will be traveling 48'2". Now we have two different measurements here because of the situation that I have. Technically, well, in reality, this from this corner to this corner, the distance is 110'4". And a lot of you would say that I would need to put it directly in the middle and use a 50-foot hose so I can comfortably get this and this with a 50-foot hose. So these two drawings, this line represents this corner. This line represents the block here if I was to put my pressure washer there or there, okay? This line represents the other corner of the building. If I was to put my pressure washer here, I would be able to use a 50-foot hose to get up to this corner. All right, and then I would probably just drag this back just so I could get this corner with the hose. But I might be able to have two hoses that are 50 feet each, which means I would have 100 feet of hose, and in which case I would put my pressure washer here, and then distance of the corner, I could use the full length of the 100-foot hose to reach this corner, and then which would be 15 feet away, which would mean I would have just a little bit more water pressure from this X, this point right here. Okay, so that's what it is that I'm looking at. We have a 6-foot elevation difference between where this ends up right here and the sidewalk, the level surface of the sidewalk where this is. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to talk about is water pressure. Let me put this on pause. So from that ShopRite, including the borough, all the way to the alleyway there, that is what I will be working on. Okay, in order for me to know how much water pressure is coming out of here to feed my pressure washer, you all need to know how big my pressure washer is. My pressure washer will be a 4,400 PSI pressure washer, and if you look at this diagram that I printed out for everybody to consider, it tells you your feed. The garden hose must be at least 3/4 inch in diameter, and the flow of water must not be below 8 gallons per minute, and I can fill up an 8-gallon pail in 38 seconds, which is why we have this, an actual 5-gallon pail. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn this on, fill that up, and see if we can get it in 38 seconds or less. You see this machine right here? I use this. I bought that from Amazon, in fact, so I could check the pressure on that. And then I'm going to record that, and you're all going to see that. So I'm going to plug this into there. I'm going to use my water key over the little nib right there, and we're going to turn it on and have that reading. So hold on. Holy effing shit. We have a lot of water pressure there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what I did was I bled that a little bit so there would be no water or air, no air in the causing a malfunction with reading. It should be a solid water pressure, and that's what we have, which means we have a lot. So now I'm going to fill this bucket up to see if we can get that in 8 seconds or less. I'm about to start. I got my camera dial on video here. I'm going to turn it on full blast. Starting right now. Okay, that was right there. It was just a little over 38 seconds. It was actually 43, but that's what we have. That's not bad, but according to this, it should be able to fill that in less that time. So now what we're gonna do, is we're gonna put a garden hose from here and connect it to this and see what our reading is. It's gonna be a 25-foot hose. And then we're going to put 2 garden hoses connected to this and then to here, and then we're going to see what the reading is there. Okay, we're going to do 2 different types of readings, and we're going to look at the elevation difference. So as you can see, the driveway there slopes. You start from uphill here and you go downhill over here. We're going to use both those hoses. We're going to take the reading from over there on 2 separate readings, and then we're going to go uphill and take the 2 separate readings of the garden hoses. And you're going to see that there's going to be different readings, which we're going to record on our paper here. So let me get everything all ready. Okay, so I'm all set up here. This is the way that's going to be working. This here is locked off. This here is on, which means the water will come on through here, and then I will shut it off here and open it up here, and we will get our reading. So when you are setting up your pressure washer, your hose should have absolutely 0 kinks in it, and it should be straight as possible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it on, and the water is going to come out through there. When you're doing this, there should be 0 air that is coming out of the hose. It will be sputtering. When you have a complete solid air of water flow, then you will be able to take a proper reading. There should be 0 air in the hose when you're taking a reading. So I'm going to shut this off. Just like that. Then I'm going to turn this on. And there we go. We have a reading upside down of about 100. 110, 105, maybe 105. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 105. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to fill this up in the recommended 38 seconds. So here we go. 38 seconds starting now. Hold on. Six, 7, 8. Okay, there we go. We're gonna take a measurement. Darn it. Okay, so we have a reading of about 4 inches there. Over here, it's about the same. 4. Over there. It's about 4. Okay, so now we're gonna write that down, and then we're gonna do it at a higher elevation. Okay, so we're at a higher elevation by about, I would say, 3 feet at this point right here. Okay, and we did drop down a lot, so it's going back and forth there. But as you can see, with a higher elevation, it is no longer 100. So because of the fact that there are other people in the building that are also using the water pressure at this time, you can see it's gone up a little bit right that second. At 100, just a little bit over, but it's averaging at 100. So it dropped about 5 psi just by bringing it up in elevation of about 3 feet. So if I was to fill this bucket up into 38 seconds, I'm pretty sure that it would be a lot less. So we're gonna do it anyways. Hold on. 3, 2, 1. 37, 38. Okay, now I'm gonna take a measurement with this bucket at a level surface, because that would be more appropriate, right? Okay, so we've got a difference here at the lowest point. We've got 3 1/4. Over here we have 3 3/4. So it's almost makes me think that it filled up faster at this right there. So now we're going to attach the other hose and we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so I have my hoses hooked up. I haven't went around the front yet, but I will. But I noticed that when I did hook up this hose, it's well, let me turn this on. See how it drops when it's running? Now when I turn it on, it's pressurizing itself. And it pressurized itself probably looking at 50 right there, or 60. And now it's gradually going up to 100. But it's not quite going to 100. But it will once it's pressurized. And if it's going up, and up, that means I have 0 leaks at any of my connection points, which is good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this all the way up around the front of the building to see where exactly the end of this is going to be when I do the pressure washing. And we're going to take the reading of it too. Okay, so this is what my reading is. It is not even close to 100. And I have a slight hole in my hose, which is not helping. But if we were to take into consideration that everybody's using the building, all the water, this is where we're at. You see how that needle is going up and down? There's other people using the water. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fill up a bucket at this point right here to see what our reading is. Three, 2, 1. Okay, so now we take a measurement, and as you can tell, it is way less. After 38 seconds, we were able to get it 8 inches. See that? 8 inches. That is like half. Okay, so I'm going to record that. And now we're going to do the lower elevation. Okay, so here we are, about 100 feet away. I just realized that this is 50-foot hose and not 25, which is why I was able to make it in front of the building. So I bled it from right here. Now I'm about to turn it on. So it starts at about 44, and then it gradually increases. And as I just noticed, I have a friggin' hole, another hole all the way up there. The holes that are in your hoses affect the pressure, and right there is 60. At a lower elevation it has 60, but there could be other people using it inside the building. But here we have a steady 60. It may not increase to 100, but this is what we have after about 100 feet of hose. And now that I think about it, now I really got to measure my hoses because they're probably not labeled on there. Now we're going to do the full water bucket test. Three, 2, 1. As you can tell, we got another half a bucket. After that long a length of distance, we have half a bucket, which to some of you would probably not be surprising, but now we're going to measure it. Okay, our last measurement for this experiment. It's touching the water, and it is at just a little over 8 inches. Just a little over 8 inches by at least 1/4 of an inch. And I would attribute that to gravity. Gravity is helping the water flow downwards and down a hill. And gravity would be also acting against it going up a hill. Now we're going to go inside and talk about this. After doing all those calculations and measurements early this morning, I have my statistics in front of me. So, the building has a primary pressure of 96 psi. That is when nobody else in the building is using it for washing their dishes or what the hell ever. 96 psi is solid. So, when we went and hooked up the 50-foot garden hose and put it at the lower elevation, we had a reading still of 96 psi, and we were able to fill the bucket up to 4 inches from the brim. When we put that bucket at a higher elevation, about 3 feet, like you see me do in the video, we still had 96 psi, varying because by that time people were still using the water in the building. It was 3 7/8 from the brim on the level surface when we measured it. Now, when we went and put 2 hoses together, we got 100 feet. So when I went and put it at the lower elevation, we had 60 psi, much lower. And like I said, it was varying when we did the reading there. And unfortunately, we were able to fill at 8 inches from the brim. Now, when we put it at a higher elevation, of course, we had 60 psi varying and 8 1/4 inches from the brim. So will my idea work for pressure washing the sidewalk using my 4400 psi pressure washer? The answer is no. So I have options available to me now, and we're going to talk about those options. You see, you're not necessarily supposed to use 100 feet of garden feed hose to do your pressure washing unless you were able to get a high pressure at the end of the hose, as you had seen me do with the water gauge. Now, the water supply there is limited because in front of the building there is an outlet there, and I could not use that because the owner of the lady that I'm dealing with, the business there, she says that that line is busted, and using one hose at that point there would be crucial. Unfortunately, now I have to use it from the rear end of the building, as you had seen me do. So, therefore, I have to use the smaller pressure washer that I have, which is 2700 psi. That one uses a smaller feed of water, which would be acceptable for what it is that I had there. 60 psi for a 2700 pressure washer. That could work. But then again, no. I do have other options. And one of them I was thinking about was using a submersible half horsepower pump to pump water from a garbage can to my pressure washer. And I looked at that, and it looks like it will work because I actually did it in a bathtub. I made a video of it, and it almost seems sketchy, but it is not, because I can't use it for my 4400, but I can use it for my 2700. The pump, the submersible half horsepower pump, is just enough to feed my 2700 psi pressure washer, and I can use that to clean the sidewalks, and I have done it before. The thing is, now I need a power outlet. So now I need to talk to that nice lady and ask if I can use her power so I can feed my pump to wash the sidewalk. Shouldn't be a problem, and I hope not. But to be honest with you, pressure washing, I don't necessarily need a whole bunch of power to wash it, because if I scrub the sidewalk properly and loose all the dirt and grime that's off it, then technically I should be able to get it clean. So when the time comes, you're going to see me do it. I'm going to do a stop and go, not a stop and go, a slow motion video of me doing that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will be today's preparation and planning video. And a lot of thought has went into that. For some of you that For some of you that are doing pressure washing and wondering about this, I hope I have answered your question. I'm not a professional. I am not an expert. I have just done this a few times, and I don't consider myself a professional or an expert because I'm a scaffolder. That is my main job that I have expertise and qualifications in. Pressure washing is just something I do as a side. And if any of you would like to leave me any negative comments, you are not welcome to do that. But I do look for encouraging support for those of you who do know about water pressure, which would be firefighters, plumbers, and the sorts. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end this video. And thank you for listening and watching. And if you have any input or advice, positive advice that you'd like to give to me, I look forward to hearing it. And until then, have a good day.